What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to show you all how to do a leak down test. This is sort of a different video for my channel, but I was doing a leak down test, so I thought I'd share it with everyone. There's a couple of videos on YouTube, but they're all older and not cut super well, so I thought I'd make one for myself. What is the leak down test? It is a test where you pressurize the cylinder in order to see where you are losing compression from. So if you are suspecting that you have a bad head gasket, exhaust valves, intake valves, or bad piston rings, then this could be a good test for you. You want to do a compression test before you do one of these, so make sure you do one of those. Those are really simple and there's a lot of great videos on how to do those, so check one of those out first if you don't know how. But this is just slightly more involved than a compression test, has a couple more steps and requires a couple more tools. First tool you're going to need is the leak down tester itself. There's one from Harbor Freight for about 40 bucks, works perfectly fine. There's obviously more expensive ones as well, but that's going to be probably the cheapest one you can find. The next thing you're going to need is a compressor. The one that I'm using is just a cheapy little one. I actually bought it for like 15 bucks brand new. It was on clearance, but that's how cheap it was. Capability just needs a small volume and to be able to produce, ideally 100 psi, but really anything under 50 is going to work. And then you'll also need whatever tools it takes to remove your spark plugs. If you're doing a job like this, I would hope that you already have that stuff and you already know what you're doing in terms of removing spark plugs. So now let's just get right into it. First step is going to be to pull off all of the spark plug wires and remove the spark plugs. Now I unplugged the distributor as well, just to be on the safe side for when I'm doing my compression test, which I did not record. So once you have all the spark plugs out, as well as everything taken apart, such as the distributor unplugged and the plug wires, you are going to start on whichever cylinder, but I'm going to go just 1, 2, 3, 4, but you have to find top dead center of each cylinder before you can perform a leak down test, because otherwise the valves may be open. So at top dead center the valves are completely closed so that the air does not leak out. So that is going to differ from car to car, so just look up how to find top dead center in your particular car, and that will be how you do it. It's pretty simple. So once you get the cylinder to top dead center, you need to find the correct adapter that will thread into your spark plug holes. This particular engine just uses these threads, so I don't need the adapters. Then thread in the hose by hand. Doesn't need to be super tight, just enough to where that O-ring is going to seal. Once your compressor is all the way pressurized, take the hose, slip it on there, and then open the valve on the compressor. So now that you get the hose in the cylinder and the cylinder at top dead center, you're going to take this regulator, pop it all the way out, and then take your hose and hook it up, and then you're going to watch this gauge right here, and you're going to turn this clockwise until, let's see, there we go. This needle, you're going to go all the way to 0. So just like that, and then click that guy in, and you're good to go. Now that that is calibrated, you're going to take this end and hook it up to the hose that is in the spark plug hole. There you go. That is the leak down percentage right there. We are seeing about 15% leak down, maybe 16%. So before you can do another cylinder, you need to make sure that you get that cylinder to top dead center, as well as recalibrate the gauge, set it back to 0. Then you can hook it back up. So you see this cylinder, we are in the yellow at about 50% leak down. So after you do a leak down test, what do you do with the information? Well, the whole point of the leak down test is that you can see what sort of health your engine is in, and you can also see where you are losing compression, if you're losing compression. So while the leak down test is going, you need to listen for air rushing. There's a few different places you can listen. If you hear it rushing out of your intake, then you know that most likely one of your valves is bad on your intake because it's slipping past that intake valve. If you hear air coming out of the exhaust, then you know that you have an exhaust valve that is potentially bad, causing air to slip by there. If there's air coming out of the crankcase or out of the oil cap or the dipstick, then your piston rings could potentially be worn. Now, most likely you're going to get some air coming out of the oil cap or dipstick tube, because when piston rings are static, they're not going to be sealing perfectly well. That's why no matter what, you're going to get about 10% leak down in any case. Now, if you see bubbles coming out of your radiator with the cap popped, then you know that you potentially have a bad head gasket, because the air is going through the head gasket into the coolant jackets and out of the radiator. Now, there's other potentials for air to escape into other places, but just do a little research and see what you can find. There's a lot of information online, but those are the most common ones. A leak down test does not replace a compression test. You still want to use a compression test to make sure that you actually have full compression on all your cylinders and that it's pretty close to all 4 of them. Or I guess however many cylinders your engine has. What it does do is it tells you where you are losing your compression. So it's sort of the step after a compression test to get a little bit more information. So if you have any more questions about leak down tests or how to do leak down tests, or just any questions in general, leave them down in the comments. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But that is going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Like this video if I helped you out on anything. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Or if you enjoy car builds and stuff, go check out, I've got a whole playlist of a 914 I've been building if you're not a regular to this channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out.